what's up guys, welcome back to the channel. We're going to be back in Forza Horizon 4 today, and we're going to be taking out the 2009 Ferrari 458 Italia. Taking it and do some little back road runs with it and take it into a few races. It's another episode kind of like the canyon carving ones I've been doing, just to test out some vehicles I haven't really got to drive here in the game and get my thoughts on them and see if I actually want to drive them more often. Because there's an absolute astonishing amount of cars in this game, and once you have as many as I do, you don't get the chance to use most of them anymore. It becomes pretty ridiculous trying to go through 600 and some cars to pick one out to drive. So let's go ahead and jump in here guys, take this thing out, cruise around for a little bit. I do have a pretty mild build on it. It's at S1899. It is still naturally aspirated, still on the stock motor, but I do have most of the engine upgrades done to it. Full chassis upgrades, race tires, just a basic, good track build basically. And from what little bit I've drove it so far, I'm definitely pretty happy with this car. It's very, very planted. It can take some corners at very impressive speeds, honestly, especially considering this doesn't have any aero upgrades to help with downforce at all. I was really kind of worried about that when I was doing the build, but once I took it out and drove it for a while, like I said, I was very surprised by how well this car actually does grip and can corner. And it sounds absolutely fantastic. They did a really good job on this Ferrari sound. I'm not sure what other Ferraris share this engine sound in the game. I'm sure there are others, but I don't drive most of the Ferraris very much unless it's like the F40. Occasionally I'll get the F50 out or the FXXK. That is really hard to say for some reason, but those all have very distinct sounds here in the game compared to this. This is just a nice, aggressive, what you would expect Ferrari sound to be like. I'm not sure if there is an actual difference, or what the differences are between the Ferrari 458 Speciale and the Italia, but I like the Italia personally more, so I went ahead and went with that as my option. I'm sure they do handle fairly similarly in the game. I definitely do like, oh no, and there's the first wreck. It had to happen eventually, right? You can only get away with driving at ridiculously high speeds on an open road so long before something happens. And I lost train of thought in what I was talking about before that. I know it was about comparing the two different models, but anyways, I'm sure here in Horizon they're not a whole lot different. I just like the Italia a little bit more. You know, it's kind of funny. I spent a lot of time in this game trying to collect all the Ferraris and get good deals on them at the auction house and not pay an absolute fortune for them, just to never really drive them. I don't really drive Ferraris that often in the game, even though I do love the way most of them handle and drive. I'm not sure why that really is, but definitely need to start getting more of them out. I think part of why I do like this car so much is it feels like a very toned down Ferrari F40 Competizione that's NA, and it just has that kind of feeling to the handling of the car anyways. Had a major glitch there with the background trying to load in. Everything just said goodbye for a second. Alright, since we're already over here by the Holyrood Park circuit, let's go ahead and jump in here and do this race. Like I was saying earlier when I was cruising, I really like the livery for this one. It's really simple, but I really like the way the black roof breaks up with the red. It just has that nice classic Ferrari look to it, but it makes it so much more aggressive. Woohoo! I was not set up properly for that corner at all. This is a fairly nasty circuit, and I don't have a lot of experience on it, so hopefully I can pull a win out here. Was not off to a good start there at the beginning, but should be able to recoup from that a little bit. Couldn't find my gear shifter there for a second. That got a little sketchy. I really like that section right through there though, because if you cut that one like curb mound of dirt off to the side there where the cliff is just right, you can launch yourself onto that little tiny straight section before the next corner and you don't blast into the wall like if you try to take it at high speeds and follow the actual line. That was clean through there. Carried a lot of speed through that section. That's another thing I noticed about this car too when I was driving it before I started recording, is this thing drives amazingly well off-road for being almost slammed to the ground and having basically a race setup on it. I don't understand why it's as good as it was, why it handles as well as it does off-road, but it's actually surprisingly good. I feel like this would be like a crazy good like S1 dirt racing vehicle. Woohoo! That was so close. I don't know how I managed to stay off of his door, but that's something I've been focusing on a lot more lately too, is driving more clean in this game and trying to like really work on racecraft even when I'm playing Forza Horizon 4 and being able to get on people's doors through corners and really just put pressure on them. A lot of times you don't really focus so much on driving very clean and precise and correctly when you're racing here in this game, so I've been really focusing on that on the wheel. Oh no. Oh. I'm just gonna rewind there. You guys definitely didn't see that. I got way too focused on talking and completely messed that corner up. That'll work. I'd rather almost slow to a stop than blast into the wall again. That slows me down a whole lot more. You can kind of see there where I did that, or keep doing that little cut to gain a little bit of time. This thing doesn't get really that shocked by going off-road a little bit, or really big bumps and curbs and stuff. Just apex to apex through there. And this is what I was talking about. So you can just kind of launch over that little section there on the cliff wall, and it puts you perfectly in line, but you got to hit it just right, because if the car's unsettled, it does do some really sketchy things over there. Ooh. Oh, I can't believe it held that line. I thought for sure I was going to spin or go into the wall. Just a little tap of the brakes and a downshift and a little throttle, and it was enough to straighten this thing out. It's really recoverable from most stuff. It's really incredible how well this thing drives. Alright, for our next race, guys, we're going to be doing the Colossus here. I was kind of torn between doing two shorter races or just doing this, but I feel like this would be a lot more fun. I think I'm going to need to jump in and throw a custom blueprint at this, though, because I believe it shows we're going to have rain in this race, which I'm not wanting to do. But I prefer to do longer races because you get more time to get warmed up and used to the car, and by the end you're usually doing better than what you would in a couple shorter races. So it looks like we have a pretty decent grid of cars here to go up against for this race. Another thing I've been really working on is driving rear-wheel drive cars more for racing in this game and in Forza Motorsport 7, just to really work on my throttle control in game, because it's the pedal feeling, even with like upgraded springs and stuff in a game, unless you're playing like Assetto Corsa or Project Cars where you can actually adjust pedal saturation, is nowhere near as linear as it is in most cars. And driving rear-wheel drive, a lot of times I have issues with giving it a little too much gas going around a corner and spinning out or just lighting the tires up and losing a lot of speed. So I've really been trying to drive a lot more rear-wheel drive vehicles lately. I do feel like it's definitely been paying off, even when I do switch to all-wheel drive cars, because I just have that much more throttle control and can be that much more precise in my driving of them. That was a real risky move. Oh no, get out of my door. Apparently that Lamborghini did not like me sneaking up the inside like that. Actually got pretty lucky, I feel like, being able to save it with how hard he started pushing me. That was bad. Barely recovered from that one. This is a really nasty stretch of road through here, though. It will definitely lift and toss your cars around if you hit it in the wrong places at really high speed. Snuck past that Lamborghini again. Let's see if we can catch up to... I want to say that's a BMW in front of us. I have a hard time telling without my glasses on. Yep, that's definitely a BMW. Whoa, where did you come from? Oh no. Well, that slowed me down a lot. That Lamborghini was real sneaky coming through there. I had no idea he was coming up like that. He took a pretty clean line between us too. That was really surprising for the AI. This has been a fairly tight race up here so far in the front. Everybody's sticking pretty close together, except for first place has managed to kind of freight train away from us, with the rest of the pack back here kind of fighting with each other. I'm still astounded by how much grip this thing has around corners. That was about 180 miles an hour through there, and it just was like glued to the road. I got a little bit of tire squeal because it is at an odd camber and at a slight decline. So we do lose a little bit of traction coming around that corner, but it wasn't honestly as bad as I would expect from something like this. Very nice line around that corner. Kind of banged the limiter in 6th gear setting up for it, but happens sometimes. That Acura is very, very quick, but not quite as fast as this Ferrari is on top end. This thing just keeps freight training in 7th gear. I just love the way this thing handles so much. I just cannot get over how good this car feels. And I haven't done a whole lot of tuning to it either. I kind of did what I thought would be good for a baseline and adjusted everything around, but it was not anything too drastic. That was gnarly. I did not think I was going to recover that. I really swung the end around. I bet that would look really sick on the replay cams. I might have to go back after I finish this race up and check it out, honestly. This might be one of the best races I've done in a little while, honestly. I feel like my driving's been fairly clean and very good in this race. The background is having a lot of trouble loading in though, and it's starting to sketch me out. That was a lot of heel-toe downshifting. Almost up to the finish line here. This has been a really nice, really fun race to do. It was so close there for so long, up till I finally managed to get past all of them. They were doing a really good job for defending as far as the AI goes. they are usually nowhere near as good of drivers as that, and they weren't really being like overly aggressive and just slamming into me. Well guys, that's gonna do it for today's video. If you haven't had a chance to drive this car or any of the 458 variants we have in the game, I definitely recommend it. It's a really fun car. As you see, it's fairly competitive. It's extremely fast on top end especially. All around, it's just a really fun car. Like, even having it set up like this, I can take it out to the old abandoned air station and still be able to slide this thing around and have fun. It's not like a good drift car really. I have had a good drift setup on it before, and it's not horrible, but it is definitely a little difficult to control and get used to. But you can actually chuck this car just how I have it set up sometimes and be able to drift it around and have some fun with it, even though it's set up to be a super grippy race car. Just everything about the 458 Italia is so good. Like, I would love to get a chance to drive one of these in real life to see if they actually live up to the hype that Forza has given it. Because honestly, this is probably one of my favorite handling Ferraris in this game besides the 450 or the Ferrari F40 Competizione. And that thing is just insane. Like, once you have a good tune on it, you basically can flat out most corners out in the larger sections of the map. And even through town through here, you can really just rip it up in that car and it has no trouble finding enough traction for it. You just gotta be a lot more careful with throttle in that car because it has so much turbo lag. It'll spool up and just all of a sudden spin you off into another realm or off into a tree. So definitely got to be more precise with something like that, but that's a lot of why this car just feels like it's so much funner to drive overall, I think. It's just because you can really push this thing, and it takes a fairly large mistake to really cause any sort of major issues while you're driving it. Anyways guys, I really hope you enjoyed this video. I really had a lot of fun making this one. And if you did enjoy it, don't forget to hit that like button, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.